Welcome to Trade Pro. In this video, I'm going to show you the strategy that was used to produce these really incredible results based on 466 back-tested trades. The net profit being 9,800%, risking 3% of the account equity per trade. Very impressive results for such a simple strategy that uses the super trend, an exponential moving average, and a trailing stop loss. This trading strategy script has been created to have a bunch of additional customizable features and filters. So I'm going to break down the simplest strategy and then go into all the additional, more complex customizable features of this trading strategy script. If you are interested in getting access to this trading script, along with 8 additional trading strategy scripts, 2 custom indicators, learning my personal trading strategy, and getting twice weekly market report videos produced by me, then join the Patreon page in the description down below. Now, let's get into the strategy that's actually being used to produce these results, and then we'll break down all the different features that this trading strategy script has. All right, let's go over the rules for this simple strategy, starting with the indicators you need. It's going to be very simple. All you need is a basic super trend indicator with default settings of 10 and 3, as you can see right here. You will also need a 200 period exponential moving average as the trend direction filter. And you will need a trailing stop loss of 3 times the ATR. So I've enabled a trailing stop loss that's ATR based, and it's set to 3 times the ATR. So the stop loss is going to be placed 3 times the ATR, and it's going to trail at 3 times the ATR. The profit target is 3 times the initial risk. All right. So let's take a look at some entries and see how it's taking entries. It's going to take a long entry when price is over the 200 period exponential moving average and the super trend is green. It's going to place the stop loss 3 times the ATR, as you can see right here. It enters, stop loss placed 3 times the ATR, and then this red line is the trailing stop loss. You can see as it trails price, as price kind of moves to the upside, eventually hitting the 3 times risk profit target on this one. Then if we take a look at this next one, we can see it enters in again as all the conditions are still met, and then trails the stop loss up, eventually getting stopped out at the trailing stop loss in profit. So that's for a long position. Now let's take a look at some short entries. Here are a few short entries. As you can see, price comes down below the 200 period exponential moving average with a red super trend. It enters into a short position and trails that 3 ATR stop loss until either the profit target is hit at 3 times the risk or it gets stopped out at that trailing stop, which it does here. Then it enters another short position as all the conditions are met, keeps trailing that stop loss, but the 3 times risk profit target is hit on this one. And then we have this one here where you can see it enters because all the conditions are met, starts to trail the stop loss, but eventually gets stopped out for a very small loss there. All right. So that's the advantage of the trailing stop loss. A lot of the losses that you'll take are very small, which is why the net profit is so high. And it has the ability to reach that 3 times profit target with enough wiggle room for the stop loss where it's not going to get stopped out prematurely most of the time. But anyway, that's the most basic version of this. And now I'm going to talk about some of the more advanced parts of this trading strategy script where you can set it to only enter on pullbacks and also with divergence being present. So quite a lot more to discuss about this here. Now let's take a look into the settings and try out some of the other features, getting into more of an advanced strategy. We'll start with the ability to enter only on pullbacks to an EMA of your choice. So if we go into the settings here, you can see in the EMA settings, you have the option to enable a fast exponential moving average of your choice. So if I click on that, it's going to only enter the trades that pull back to the 20 period exponential moving average. You can see things have changed now, and it's entering when we get price meeting all the previous criteria that I already discussed, but it needs to have pulled down below that exponential moving average in order to take the entries. So you can see it, each of these times it has pulled back into that exponential moving average before giving that entry. Now, let's take a look at one of the other features, and that is a divergence filter. So let's turn on the divergence filter by going to the divergence settings, hitting enable divergence detection, and then needing to go over to our indicators, our invite only scripts, selecting the TradePro divergence indicator, popping it up onto your chart. Should load here in a sec. I have terrible connection at this hotel. But now that we have this on the screen, we can go back into our settings for the actual strategy and select under the divergence detection section, the divergence indicator link, and then set it to TradePro divergence indicator divergence signal. So what this is going to do is actually make it so the strategy can only enter when you also have the confirmation from the divergence. So you need to see divergence and the super trend green and the price above the 200 EMA in order to enter a long position. So if we go into the divergence indicator now, we can actually choose which oscillator we want to use for divergences. So let's just say we want it to be RSI. We only want to use hidden divergences to enter trades. And there's all these different sorts of things that you can enter trades based on. But now we can see that we have the hidden bullish divergence here, and then it gives it the go ahead once all those other conditions have been met. And once again, over here, we get the hidden bullish divergence on this pullback. And then once everything's confirmed, we get that buy signal. All right. So that is the divergence detection, and there are so many little things that you can change within the divergence indicator within the actual strategy script itself. But I'm going to kind of breeze through all the different features and customizable settings within the strategy script itself for the rest of this video, as I don't want it to be too insanely long. It would take a very long time to go through every little thing, but I'm just going to kind of go through every single one of these settings so you can get a general idea for what all the different features are. Let's take a look through all the different settings, and I just want to start with something that's kind of interesting and fun. No real point to it, but the ability to activate custom order size settings so you can see the net profit after the back-tested trades and using whatever percent risk of your equity you would like, along with these other different things that you can change. But things get pretty crazy if you want to go up to 5% risk per trade. And let's just wait for it here. 152,000% net profit. So you can play around with this and kind of see what type of net profit you can expect if activating the custom order size settings. So 1% risk, only 397. You go up to 3 or 4, you start getting into really, really high net profit figures. Another thing that's actually important is commission settings as well. So a lot of people have said it's misleading to not show with commission. So let's just put in the standard commission rate for a cryptocurrency exchange like Bybit. If you're market executing, so it would be 0.075%, where we still see a significant profit and good profit factor. So it does not affect the overall profitability of this. Now let's go to the rest of the settings and kind of break it down from the top down, starting with the basic super trend, where you can simply just change the settings of it to whatever you desire. But very simple there. Don't need to really dive into that too much. We have the fast EMA, which we already went over. You can change that to whichever EMA you would like. You can change the source, and you can change the validity of how many bars you want it to be valid for after pulling back to a certain EMA. Then the slow EMA, so that's the trend direction filter. You can get rid of it, or you can change it to whichever EMA you want to determine if the strategy will take longs or shorts when price is above or below this slow EMA. Then we already went through the divergence detection. And you can also change the divergence validity and a couple of other factors there. There's the position entry setting. So if we only want the strategy to enter long, let's see how that affects the results here. So they get significantly better. Net profit goes down because it's only taking long entries, but the actual profit factor goes up. Percent profitable goes up when only allowing it to take long entries. You can restrict entries to a certain date range. You can restrict entries to certain days and times of day throughout the week. You can skip entry if the estimated commission is greater than estimated profit. This is only going to happen on the very low time frames, but on the 4 hour, like what I'm showing here, it's not going to really be an issue. There's also an RSI filter, so you can have it only enter trades when the RSI is oversold. You can only have or overbought. So you can see here, oversold territory, long, overbought territory, only short, oversold territory, only short, overbought territory, only long. You can choose your parameters there as well for the RSI. And a couple really important things here are the position exit settings, so stop loss strategy, and also the take profit strategy. And this is going to be one of your main things that you can kind of play around with to change the results significantly. You can choose to set the stop loss based on the super trend itself, the ATR, percent based, ATR and percent based, tick based. I have it set to ATR for these results here. And I have the ATR set to 3. You can change it to whatever ATR you would like. And of course, all these other things. You can enable a trailing stop loss, which is what I have done. So it's going to trail at 3 times the ATR, or you can turn that off and see how it affects the results. So let's see what happens when I turn that off. The results do get worse. So still profitable, but they do get worse. So enabling that trailing stop loss is a great idea. You can have it move the stop loss to break even at a certain point. So whether it's based on percent, ticks, or a risk multiplier, look what happens. We get a very low percent profitability when we move the stop loss to break even if the price has moved 1 times the risk. So we don't want that, but of course you can play around with that in many different ways to see what type of results you can get when you move the stop loss to break even at a certain point. Then there's the take profit strategy. So when to take profit. We have the risk multiplier. So if you want to have it close out of the position once prices move 3 times the risk, then you would use the risk multiplier right here. I have it set at 3. Let's see what happens if we take profit at 2 times the risk instead of 3. And you can see the results get a little bit worse, although the percent profitable goes up. So let's go down to 1 and see what happens there. Be interesting. We get far more trades, so 700 trades now, but profit factor goes down. It's not as profitable of a strategy overall. So looks like 3 was a good choice there. But there's of course other things that you can do: ATR based, percent based, tick based, and customize all those things as well. You can also close the position early if price crosses a moving average of your choice. You can close the position after a certain number of minutes. You can close the position upon reaching the end of the trading session. And we already went over the custom order size settings, which are important. So you can see your drawdown, 3% per trade risk. You're going to have a max drawdown of 19.98% based on this backtest. So if that's too high for you, try 2% risk, try 1% risk, and we can see what type of drawdown you can expect, down to 13 now. So many different things that you can do here. This is for setting up alerts or webhooks if you want to use this for automated trading or just getting general alerts of when to enter. And there's also the trading widget here, which you can customize different parts of it or get rid of it altogether. So if I get rid of it, we'll see that the trading widget just goes away if it's kind of annoying you. But yeah, those are all the different things that you see within the settings here. And there are so many different combinations. The options are limitless. And I had found this simple configuration that I have shown in this video to produce really good results. So That's why I'm showing this particular configuration, because this is very simple and it performs well based on a decent sample size of back tests. All right, so that is it for the video. I do want to shout out my affiliate here before wrapping things up. Shout out to my affiliate, Capitalize.ai, where they offer you code-free automated trading, simulating, backtesting, and much more, all for no cost to you. So if interested, check out my link in the description down below. Thank you, and have a nice day.